always on the go, but the day just won't be one without your Hollywood fix. Let Golden State Media Concepts Entertainment Podcast take care of that. An all-inclusive look of pop culture.
Welcome to the GSMC Entertainment Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I'm your host, Jessica, and I'm here to tell you all the entertainment news that you need to know right now. Guys, how is everyone doing? Did everyone have a good weekend? I know it's a few days out, but I am still recovering. I had a very eventful weekend. I had not one, but two socially distanced bridal showers. It was a lot of fun. I have two cousins getting married. They're both COVID brides. They have both been through a lot, and I feel so bad for them, and I sympathize with everyone who has to postpone a wedding due to the global pandemic. So my two cousins, I love them dearly. They have been such good sports with everything, and we finally got to celebrate all the love in their lives. Again, we were very responsible. Both showers were only 15 people most. There was no hugging, no kissing, which is very difficult to do in an Italian family. But the food was delicious. The love just filled the room, and they all got set up pretty well for their future. So I'm so happy for both of them. I'm so happy to celebrate their weddings finally. I love them dearly. Other than that, I haven't really had time to do much of anything. My husband and I are having a pretty low-key dinner. I'm just taking a break to record, kind of cooking at the same time, trying to multitask, getting life back on track. In the entertainment world, a lot has been happening. We have a Twitter feud. We have lots of news going on. I'm going to talk about James Charles today. He seems to be getting into a lot of trouble lately. He doesn't really know when to keep his little mouth shut. So I'm going to be talking about him. We're just going to talk about some other entertainment news about the Emmys. And I'm also going to have a little nod to Robin Williams on this episode. And at the very end, I am going to talk about some of my favorite Robin Williams performances over the years. I grew up with them. I miss him dearly. So again, there's a lot to cover. So let's just dive right on in, shall we? So let's get some of the bad and more uncomfortable news out of the way first. It has been quite dramatic in Hollywood the past few days. So let's start with the Twitter feud that rocked a nation. All right, so maybe now I'm being a bit dramatic, but I do love me a good Twitter feud. Rose McGowan claims that Alyssa Milano made the Charmed set toxic AF. The actresses who worked together on the WB hit series sparred on social media on Friday, with McGowan criticized the Democrats for achieving nothing following the last night of the Democratic National Convention. Milano clapped back at her former co-star in a series of tweets listing the achievements of the Democratic Party over the years. She wrote, "Rose and anyone bleeding the same Democrats don't help people nonsense. Your lies are going to hurt people less privileged than you. It's the kind of thing that an actual fraud would do. Thousands of people are dying a day, but you go on with your hyperbolic attention-seeking tweets." In response, McGowan accused Milano of having stolen the Me Too movement from founder Tarana Burke and being difficult to work with on the set of Charmed. So McGowan wrote, "You stole Me Too, a brilliant communication tool, not a movement from Tarana. You co-opted my movement, the Cultural Reset, for fame, jealous of me for outing my rapist. You made $250,000 per week on Charmed. You threw a fit in front of the crew, yelling that they don't pay you enough. The appalling behavior on the daily. I cried every time we got renewed because you made the set toxic AF. Now get off my coattails, you effing fraud. Oh my goodness, shots are fired. In a follow-up tweet on Sunday, McGowan posted a screenshot that shows that Milano had blocked her on Twitter. In the wake of the Me Too movement, both McGowan and Milano have become outspoken warriors against sexual harassment and the assault in Hollywood. These two women are fighting the same battle, but in very, very different ways. During an interview with Nightline back in February of 2018, McGowan questioned Milano's involvement in the cause, quoting, "I don't like her because I think she's a lie." To which, after the interview, Milano issued a statement on Nightline supporting McGowan, quote, "I am and always have been completely supportive of Rose and admire her bravery in speaking out of her experiences. My goal through the past months with both Me Too and the Time's Up movement has been to use my platform to give others a voice so we can all work together and stamp out sexual harassment and sexual assault." So I think that is going to be the end of the feud, especially since Alyssa Milano has blocked Rose McGowan. I think that is done. It was just very interesting to see everything that was happening on Twitter, and I'm happy that Kanye was not in the middle of it for once. So that was a fun little break. I'm sad to see women against women, of course, but I'm telling you, in the middle of just like celebration and love and everything, it was beautiful. A little Twitter feud, kind of like was a little exciting. I'm not going to lie. I have to be honest. But let's move on to the next piece of kind of like sad, uncomfortable news. Lori Loughlin has been sentenced to 2 months in federal prison. Loughlin issued an apology for her role in the college admissions bribery scandal. Oh my goodness. She says, "I made an awful decision. I went along with a plan to give my daughters an unfair advantage in the college admissions process. Oh my goodness. In doing so, I ignored my intuition and allowed myself to be swayed from my moral compass. I thought I was acting out of love for my children, but in reality, it only undermined and diminished my daughter's abilities and accomplishments." This scam successfully got Loughlin's 2 daughters, Isabella and Olivia, accepted into the University of Southern California under false crew team credentials. Neither girls had played the sport competitively. When released, Loughlin will be supervised for 2 years and will have to serve 100 hours of community service. She's also ordered to pay a fine of $150,000. Her husband Massimo faces a little steeper of charges with 5 months in prison, 2 years of supervision upon release, and 250 hours of community service, as well as a fine of $250,000. Oh my goodness. The difference in the pair's sentencing stems from Loughlin pleading guilty to 1 count of conspiracy to commit wire and mail fraud in May, while her husband pleaded guilty to the same charges plus 1 count of honest services, wire and mail fraud. Oh my goodness, this is awful. I have my opinion on this, and it's probably not what, it's probably not the popular opinion. I don't think that they should be going to prison. I don't think that the punishment fit the crime. I think people get into colleges simply based on legacy. I read somewhere there was a study of, I think it was like 30 elite colleges found that primary legacy students are 45% more likely to get into these selective colleges and universities than anyone who's non-legacy. Like, give me a break. And Olivia and Isabel feigning outrage like they had no idea what was going on and what their parents were doing is quite laughable. There's a picture of one of the girls on an ERG machine. Like, give me a break. You knew it was happening. You're not surprised that you got into college to be on the crew team when you've never played, you were never part of crew. Like, I don't I don't understand. So I'm not buying that. Everything about this story is a joke. I'm sorry. It just is. And who are getting these fines? That's $400,000 worth of fines. Where's the money going? Is it going to the government? Is it going to the state? That money should be going into a scholarship fund for any non-legacy students who got rejected but still have the merits, the grades, and the tenacity to go to that school. Now that is justice. Not using California tax dollars to have these two wealthy people stay in jail for just 2 months, 2 to 5 months. The punishment, in my opinion, does not fit the crime. I am not a lawyer. I just think the money can go elsewhere. They should just help other students get in. That's it. They'll slap on the wrist, donate. Scholarship. This going to jail thing is absolutely absurd. But again, that is just this humble podcaster's opinion. Again, not a lawyer. I don't know the intricacies like in and out, but just based off of everything that I've been reading and keeping up with this story, everything about it is just one big eye roll. I think it's actually a bigger eye roll than everything going on with Ellen DeGeneres, if I'm being perfectly honest. But then again, if you ask maybe an 18-year-old, they might feel differently than I do. But hey, if you got rejected from the school and now you want to go, do the scholarship and maybe write an essay why you think you got rejected because it went to Olivia and Isabel instead. And then get the money and have Miss Laughlin pay your way. Again, my opinion. But anyway, that is that on kind of like the sad, upsetting news. I just wanted to get that out of the way. Up next, I'm going to talk about James Charles and JoJo Siwa and the makeover. I'm going to talk about the makeup and influencer business for a little bit. And then after that, we are going to talk about the Emmys. There is a plan in place on how they are going to move forward with the awards ceremony, as well as remembering Robin Williams. So I can't wait to talk about him. Love him, miss him so much. Guys, we will be right back.
Want to find out what movies to go see? Then check out the GSMC Movie Podcast. It's your ticket to the latest movies, whether it's a new blockbuster event, romantic, comedy, or action flick. This show has got it all covered. They talk some what to go see now. Don't bother. What's hot on Netflix and everything in between. That's GSMCpodcast.com/movie-podcast. When it's all about the movies, it has to be this new show. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit GSMCpodcast.com for more info.
Welcome back, friends. Let's take a moment to talk about James Charles. James Charles just gave JoJo Siwa a makeover, and it looks literally like every other influencer on the planet. Oh my God, so boring. Did JoJo Siwa look objectively pretty? Of course she did. She's beautiful. She is a stunning, stunning human being. But with this makeover, she looks like James. She looks like Kylie. She looks like every other influencer who out there in the world who does makeup. I think that's a little problematic and a little dangerous. Rather than making her over to look like a different version of herself, he made her over to look like just a completely different person. And I wish that he had used some aspects of her personality in the makeup that he did. Is James Charles talented with the makeup brush? Yes, of course he is. But I would have loved to see like a brighter lip, for example. You know, she has all those bright wow colors and glitters and the big bow. So maybe like a bolder eyeshadow or just like a bold lip would have been nice and a little bit more of her personality. this makeover kind of feeds into that we all need to look the same to be beautiful and to be like a better version of ourselves, when I don't think that's the case. Like, we all don't need to have the same eyebrows or the same full lip or the same winged eyeliner. The problem with James Charles is he got in the game early, and it's looking like that he thinks he runs the game. Let me know if you agree. I would love to hear your idea on this. James Charles has been in the news a lot this month. Earlier this month, the reality star and businesswoman Lauren Conrad announced that she's launching a beauty brand. And in typical launch fashion, she sent PR boxes to other stars and influencers who might be interested in her products. James received one, since he's the YouTube beauty blogger, but he wasn't all that impressed with what was sent. Quote, in an Instagram story, he says, "I just opened a PR package from a new makeup brand from somebody who has no business having a makeup brand," he says in his Instagram story, after showing like an empty highlighter tube and some like dry eyeliner. Although he didn't mention Lauren Conrad by name, fans quickly put the two together. He added, "Stop making makeup brands. Stop. I mean, those are some really shady comments. And Lauren Conrad admitted that she made the mistake. She says, "For those asking about the empty components sent to James, let me tell you a funny story," she wrote on Instagram. "The woman who put together the gifts, it was me, decided to fill a makeup bag full of the empty samples to make sure everything would fit inside. When the beauty products arrived and it was time to fill the makeup bags, she," again, that was her, accidentally included the bag full of empties with the others, and it was sent out. She even went on to joke that whoever did that would be let go immediately. Like, she had a good sense of humor over everything. And it's totally normal to have mishaps when launching a brand. And then James decided to apologize for his comments after she, again, publicly had to say what actually happened. And it was a mistake, after he went publicly and just completely dragged her and shaded her. So then he publicly said, "I wanted to write an apology to Lauren Conrad for my stories earlier. I've been on the verge of tears all day long from a ton of things going wrong, and opened her PR package and it was the icing on the cake." Side note, James Charles, I wish I had this problem, that an empty PR box would like set me over the edge. But okay. He goes on to say, weird things happened today. My stories talking about the products were supposed to be funny, but they just came across as nasty because I was so upset, not with her, but with other things that happened today. Lauren and I spoke privately about the misunderstanding, and both are good. Like, that is such, to me, this like, it's kind of an apology. Like, you're kind of saying, oh, look at all, I'm so big and I'm so important. I just had so many things go wrong in this empty PR box. It just, I thought it was being funny, but it wasn't funny, James. It wasn't funny. And it probably would have been a little more funny if also this month you didn't have to apologize to Alicia Keys as well. So, if you haven't heard, earlier this month, Alicia Keys announced that she was going to be partnering with e.l.f. Cosmetics and announced a skincare line. So, Alicia announced in 2016 that she would no longer be wearing makeup, and she just has the most incredible skin. She said, "I hope to God it's a revolution, because I don't want to cover up anymore. Not my face, not my mind, not my soul, not my thoughts, not my dreams, not my struggles, and not my emotional growth, nothing." So then James Charles waltzes in and thought it was his place to comment. He tweeted, quote, "People who do not wear makeup shouldn't be coming out with makeup brands, and that's just my opinion." James, I guess enough people pointed out that it was a skincare line and not a makeup line. But bro, like, do your research before you fly off the handle, you know, and make these tweets against Alicia Keys. Like, calm down. So he again had to post an apology, and the apology goes on to say to Alicia Keys, yesterday I posted a subtweet about how I thought some celebrities shouldn't launch makeup lines. It was about Alicia Keys. A few years ago, she announced that she was no longer going to wear makeup, so I was bothered because many celebrities come into the beauty space as a cash grab without any actual passion and then leave. I deleted the tweet after a few minutes because it's childish to indirect tweet someone, and I'm not the gatekeeper of makeup. Anyone should be able to secure their bag, and it's not up to me which brands people should or shouldn't support. I'm glad that I did delete it because after reading further, I learned that the beauty line is skincare. Well, you would have known that if you did a little bit of research before just letting your fingers run wild. He continues to say, this was my mistake and I should have read more before tweeting. Ain't that the truth? Because literally, who better to talk about keeping your skin clear without makeup? Regardless of my intention in my tweet, it ended up being microaggression against someone I respect. So to Alicia Keys, I owe a direct apology. I am sorry. It wasn't my place to gatekeep this industry. I can't wait to support and try out the products, and I know the brand will be worth $1 billion in a few years. James, I think you should kind of leave some of these negative comments to yourself. This is not a good look on you. I'm really curious as to what you have to say about J-Lo, who has just announced that she's also launching a beauty line. As of right now, I haven't seen him comment on it. Hopefully he has learned his lesson. Now listen, I am no stranger to the idea that I think the makeup market is incredibly oversaturated. A lot of people are doing makeup. I think that's great. Like James Charles, like grab your bag, like get it, like make that money. Again, if I was going to do this, I would definitely go the wine route. But I understand why people like to do makeup. People love it. They feel good in it. And yes, James, it is not your place to decide who can have a makeup brand and who can't. You, James, were just a nobody not that long ago. And in the grand scheme of things, you know, compared to some of these other actual celebrities, you still kind of are. You got very lucky and you got in the game early, and good for you. You figured out like that business that business model. But you, again, and you recognize this, you're not the gatekeeper. People can do whatever they want to create a business. Some people may not be the best with makeup artistically. Again, like James Charles, absolutely talented. I could never do it. But they could also have a very good business mind and be able to create a long-lasting brand. You don't have to be great with the brush to have a makeup brand. You can be passionate about it. You can be passionate about the makeup business. You don't have to do the best winged eyeliner like everybody else to qualify you for having a makeup brand. And that is my little rant on that. So James Charles, please, please, please think before you tweet, think before you Instagram story, think before you TikTok. You need to calm down a little bit. I'm rooting for you. I want all the success for you. Just please think before you tweet. Again, thank you for not saying anything about J-Lo. J-Lo, your skin is glowing. I definitely want whatever highlighter you're going to be like slinging out to me. I will buy it. So anyway, that is that on makeup. Coming up, there are Emmy plans, how we're going to do the award show. They're telling us how it's going to happen. It's very interesting. The article that I've read is really, really fascinating. I cannot wait to talk about that. And also, we're going to remember Robin Williams. How I miss that man. I'm very excited to talk about him. And then at the end, I will be remembering some of my favorite Robin Williams performances that I watched as I grew up. Anyway, we will be right back. Stay tuned.
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. Hey! The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. Whatever it may be. Visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
All right, guys, welcome back. Right now, let's talk about the Emmys. With less than a month to go before the primetime Emmys, the telecast producers are still building the show and figuring out how to make it as a live and safe as possible show for us, the audience, and the consumers. And at the same time, they promise that they're not aiming to do, quote, Emmys light. We shouldn't lose sight of the fact that the Emmys are prestigious awards, and we're not giving them out for fun. We are giving them out to reflect excellence, said Dun and Dusted President Ian Stewart, whose company is involved in the production of the show for the third year in a row. He continues, however, apart from it all, it's all available to be blown up, quite frankly, because awards have been the same way for many, many years. Host Jimmy Kimmel will anchor the Emmys from the stage at the Staples Center, where there will be no audience and no red carpet. Jimmy Kimmel loves to work live and on a stage. I'm very excited to see what he's going to do and how he will anchor this live telecast. There's going to be a lot of challenges that come with doing a live show in a COVID environment. But rather than running from those problems, the producers of the show are embracing them. The Emmys normally take place across the street from the Microsoft Theater, but Staples was chosen because of the facility's tremendous size. The producers require that capacity because of the ambitious plan that they have crafted to have professional cameras, if possible, camera operators stationed where every nominee is located. So guys, that is 140 live feeds coming into the control room at the Staples Center. That is going to be wild. I cannot imagine directing a show with 140 live feeds. The producers said that they're prepared to address the nominees' different concerns, particularly when it comes to sending a crew over. In some cases, they may agree to have a family member of the nominee work the cameras instead of having someone come in. The whole goal is to not use any platforms such as Skype, FaceTime, or Zoom, using their laptops or their phones. They want the show to still look very professional. I'm very interested to see how they're going to handle the logistics of all of these people being all over the world. Not everyone's in Los Angeles. People are in London, Berlin, Tel Aviv. One of the things that they're working through in terms of the show is that everything doesn't have to be the same. So since everyone is in different places all over the world, variations are encouraged. So you might see some nominees dressed in, their designer best, while others are sporting pajamas. I know I would definitely be in my pajamas if I were a nominee. I mean, they might be silk and they might be couture, but they will definitely be pajamas. And I would love to wear an amazing fuzzy slipper. I think that would be so chic, so cool. So I'm very, very curious as to what the fashion's going to look like. So the producers of the show did say that if you want to be in your sweats on the sofa, then that's totally fine. Just the quality of the camera is going to be fantastic. So I'm very curious as to see how all of that is going to work out. But among other elements of the show, the producers are looking at having some presenters at the Staples Center while others will be remote. Again, I'm very curious as to how that's going to do it. They are okay with having presenters in the Staples Center because, again, the Staples Center is so huge that they can keep social distancing. People can stay 6 feet apart at all times. They're also looking at potential musical numbers by other major artists and how to replace the orchestra because they can't have the orchestra all sitting together. So we'll see how all of that is incorporated in the live streaming of the show. Again, this is going to be live. This is going to be pretty epic. I have been losing interest in award shows the past few years, but I will say I'm definitely going to be tuning into the Emmys. Again, it'll be airing next month. I'm really looking forward to it, kind of like getting that backstage pass to see how they're going to do it. They have stated, the producers have stated that it's going to be completely transparent how everything is being made and what's going on behind the scenes and how they're doing it. So I would love to see a shot of the control room. I imagine they're going to use like several different stages within the Staples Center. I think that would be really interesting rather than having one main stage. I'm curious as to like with the time differences all over the world, how it's going to affect. It's going to be cool to see like some people in daylight, some people in nighttime. I'm excited to see how they're going to give Emmys to the winners, right? So if this is all supposed to be live and we're still supposed to have that like moment of surprise with the nominees, will there be Emmys at 140 different homes? Like just maybe you get to hold it, maybe not. I'm really curious to see how all that's going to come together. So I will definitely be covering the Emmys when it airs. I'm very excited about it, and I am rooting for Schitt's Creek all the way. So and Better Call Saul. Definitely Better Call Saul. Now, I do want to switch gears a little bit and talk about, just some sad. It's not sad news. It's just always sad to be reminded about it. We're going to talk about one of my favorite actors and comedians, Robin Williams. This month, it's been 6 years since his passing. When I read that, I couldn't believe it had been that long. He died August 11th, 2014. And it feels like just yesterday that we got that horrible, horrible news. A new documentary called Robin's Wish chronicles the late Robin Williams' final days and for the first time focus on his fight against a deadly neurodegenerative disorder known as Lewy body dementia. The trailer for this is so emotional. If you haven't seen it, I highly suggest that you do. Robin Williams' struggles were apparent during the filming of Night at the Museum, Secret of the Tomb, according to the film's director, Sean Levy, opened up about seeing Williams struggle for the upcoming documentary Robin's Wish, which again airs on September 1st. Sean states, I would say a month into the shoot, it was clear to all of us on set that something was going on with Robin. We saw that Robin was struggling in a way that he hadn't before to remember lines and to combine the right words with the right performance. He added, when Robin would call me at 10 at night or 2 in the morning or 4 in the morning saying, is it usable? Is any of this usable? Do I suck? What's going on? I would reassure him. I said, you are still you. I know that. The world knows it. You just need to remember that. My faith in him never left, but I saw his morale crumbling. He concluded, I saw a guy who who wasn't himself, and that was unforgivable. It is so, so sad. You know, I'm really looking forward to this documentary. I've read that we're kind of going through the journey with the filmmakers and Robin's wife, finding out what was actually going on in his final days. I think what happened to Robin is an absolute tragedy. It's so sad. His is one of those deaths that I really have a trouble getting over. You know, we lose celebrities every year. There's the whole in memoriam at all the award shows, but, you know, Robin Williams is one that really rocked me. You know, like, I would say him and Anthony Bourdain are the big ones, you know, the ones that have influenced my life so much that even though I never knew them, I definitely feel that their presence is no longer here on this earth, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? So I want to take a moment to honor Robin Williams. You know, I cannot believe it's been so long since his passing. Time just keeps going. So in my next segment where I do my fun, you know, lighthearted lists at the end, I'm going to take that to just kind of remember some of my favorite Robin Williams moments. I'd wonder if I share them with you, and let me know what your favorite moments with Robin Williams are. I would really love to hear what you have to say. So stay tuned. When I come back, we're going to talk about the best moments of Robin Williams in my humble opinion. Guys, stay tuned. Be right back.
Golden State Media Concepts bring you Book Review Podcast, a haven for bookworms of all ages and the widest genres, from mystery to memoirs, romance to comedy, fantasy to sci-fi. If you love to read, this is the podcast for you. It's the Golden State Media Concepts Book Review Podcast.
And we're back, friends. I hope you have been enjoying this show today. We are kind of all over the map with everything that we're talking about. It's not as cohesive and, streamlined. I mean, we talked about James Charles. We talked about Twitter wars. We talked about Lori Loughlin. We talked about the Emmys. We talked about missing Robin Williams. And whenever I am sad, I love to just sit down and watch a compilation of some of the funniest Robin Williams moments. Making people laugh is one of the hardest things in show business, but he made it look so easy. Here is a roundup of some of my favorite performances from the late, very, very great Robin Williams. So I have 5 here for you, and we're going to start number 5, and you cannot make a list without the iconic Mrs. Doubtfire. As a child, this movie is just plain funny, and then as an adult, it is so heartwarming. I will never get tired of the impressions and of what he does as he's coming up with these characters for the children's nanny. Tell me a more iconic movie moment where better than when Robin Williams puts his face in the pie and with the pie all over his face. It's a face mask, when the social worker comes to check on the house. It's just such a funny movie. It's so lighthearted. It's tugs on the heartstrings. It's a beautiful film. I love it. I love it. I love it. If it's on TV and I'm just going through, I will stop what I am doing and I will watch it. It's a great rainy day movie as well. So number 5, Mrs. Doubtfire. Number 6 is Jack. I simply adore this movie. They certainly do not make movies like this one anymore. When Disney Plus came out, this was the first thing that I watched. I remember on Instagram, the night Disney Plus came out, everyone was posting what the first thing they were watching, you know, something that brought them back to childhood. And mine was Jack. Robin Williams plays the role of Jack, who has a disorder that causes him to age 4 times faster than, you know, typical humans. And as a 10-year-old boy, he looks like a 40-year-old man. This movie is funny. It is cute. It tugs on the heartstrings. No one could have played this role other than Robin Williams. It had to have been written for him, at least in my mind. At the end of the movie, Robin Williams, you know, Jack says, "Life is fleeting, and if you're ever distressed, cast your eyes to the summer sky when the stars are strung across the velvety night. And when a shooting star streaks through the blackness, turning night into day, make a wish and think of me." Now try to get through that now without Robin Williams here, and, you know, try to get through that without crying, because it's not going to happen. It's so emotional. Everything in that movie that leads up to that moment is just so beautiful. If you have not seen Jack, please do yourself a favor, go on Disney Plus and watch it. It is so cute. It is so heartwarming. And again, they don't make movies like this anymore. So go watch it. I guarantee you it's a quick hour and a half. You'll love it. Adorable. Number 3. This is another one of my favorite movies, and it's one that I don't come across a lot of people who have seen it, which is shocking to me. It is Patch Adams. The movie is based on a true story where Hunter Patch Adams uses humor as a form of medicine, you know, to help patients. The movie has a lot of funny moments, but then there are a lot of really dark, sad, depressing ones. I have never once watched this movie and didn't cry. Again, this is a role that only Robin Williams could have played. He can be so funny in one moment and then really humanize and ground these characters in a way that I don't think any other actor could. He just has a magic about him, and you can really, really see it in Patch Adams. I mean, he is all over the map with emotion. It's a fantastic film. Again, is a lot of humor. It's also very dark. You're dealing with sick children. You're dealing with suicide. You are dealing with trying to find the silver lining in the darkest cloud. And he does that in such a beautiful way. Again, a lot of people have not seen Patch Adams. I haven't met a lot of people who have seen it. It's a very underrated movie. It was my introduction to Philip Seymour Hoffman, who was also in it. So go see it. Do yourself a favor. Bring some tissues. You're going to need it. Number 2, and this is also iconic. It is when Robin Williams voiced the genie in Aladdin, often imitated and never duplicated. When Will Smith took on the role in the live action version of the film, I was so hesitant. I did not go see it in theaters. I was like on my own little strike. And then after hearing from several people that the film was good, I decided, you know what? I have Disney Plus now. I'm going to watch it. And I did. And it was good. I read that Will Smith, he didn't want to try to be Robin Williams as the genie. He wanted to honor Robin and do, you know, his interpretation of the genie, you know, while giving the nod to Robin, knowing that Robin did such a great, great job. And I think Will Smith did do that. Was it as good as Robin Williams? No, it never will be. I'm so sorry. You know, he really brought that character to life. He did such a great job. I think the movie Aladdin is so successful, a lot to do with the fact that Robin Williams played the genie. His, you know, voices just matched the animation so perfectly. It was like a match made in heaven. So for that, it's number 2. It's the genie from Aladdin. I will always laugh at it. One of the best Disney movies. Definitely one of my favorites. And number 1 on this list, it's not a movie. I might have cheated a little bit, but it's Robin Williams live on Broadway. It is his stand-up special. It is so funny. If you have not seen it, please do yourself a favor. I love watching comedians and stand-up. Stand-up comics are so brilliant. He does such a good job on this. Like, if you're not like a big fan of Robin Williams in film, you have to take a moment and watch his stand-up specials. It is totally different than any movie he ever does or did. And it's so funny. It is one of the rare stand-up specials where I could hardly find a moment to breathe. I am laughing so hard when I find something really, really funny. I have like, you can see all the gums in, my upper teeth, and they're just out the whole time. It's hysterical. One of my favorite bits in the special is when he's talking about the invention of the sport golf. It is hilarious. I will not try to say any of the jokes because I will never in a million years do it justice. It would be the most rude thing I could possibly do, but just even try to find it on YouTube. Try to find the Robin Williams live on Broadway stand-up special. He has like a dozen water bottles out there. He is sweating up a storm. He is so funny. So please do yourself a favor and go watch. I'm probably going to go watch right now. Come to think of it, I don't think my husband has ever seen it. I don't know how we've been together this long and he hasn't watched. So I think as soon as I am done this, I'm going to say, husband, we are watching Robin Williams live on Broadway. So we'll see how that goes. I'll let you know next time. So anyway, guys, that was it. That was my little nod to Robin Williams. I miss him so terribly. I feel the void in this world without him. And I hope that wherever he is now, he has found the peace that he has been looking for. So that's all for today, my friends. Until next time, thank you so much for listening to the GSMC Entertainment Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I'm Jessica, and I would like to ask you, please remember to subscribe to the show and write a beautiful, glowing review that really helps us and me out. Also, if you could please follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Let me know what you think about the Robin Williams Roundup. What are your favorite moments? I would really appreciate it. You guys, thank you so much. Have a wonderful night. I will talk to you later in the week. Bye.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Entertainment Podcast, part of the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and Google Play. Just type in GSMC to find all the shows from the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. From movies to music, from sports to entertainment, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and on Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's program.